Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Life-Changing True Stories. Today, I bring you a powerful and deeply loving story. Olivia Hart stood in the bathroom of her small apartment, staring at the plastic test in her trembling hands. 2 pink lines, positive. Her heart hammered against her ribs as reality crashed over her like a wave. She was pregnant. Her mind raced back to 6 weeks ago, to the charity gala at the Metropolitan Art Museum, where she worked as a curator. She'd spent months organizing the event, ensuring every detail was perfect. That's where she'd met him. Damien Blackwell, the enigmatic billionaire, whose donation had made the entire evening possible. She remembered how his dark eyes had found her across the crowded room. How he'd approached with a confidence that was both intimidating and intoxicating. They'd talked for hours about art, history, and dreams. When he'd asked her to dinner the next night, she'd said yes without hesitation. What followed was 3 weeks of intense romance. Damien had been different from anyone she'd ever known. Guarded, yes, but also surprisingly vulnerable during their late-night conversations. Then, just as suddenly as it began, he'd grown distant. He'd claimed business obligations were taking him abroad and promised to call. That was 3 weeks ago. She hadn't heard from him since now. Clutching the positive pregnancy test, Olivia knew she had to tell him. Whatever his reasons for pulling away, he deserved to know he was going to be a father. She found his office address easily enough. Blackwell Enterprises occupied the top 15 floors of one of Manhattan's most prestigious towers. The lobby alone was more luxurious than anywhere Olivia had ever been. All marble floors and crystal chandeliers. I need to see Damien Blackwell, she told the receptionist. Trying to keep her voice steady, the woman looked her up and down with barely concealed disdain. Do you have an appointment? No, but this is urgent. Personal. Please tell him Olivia Hart is here. After a whispered phone conversation, the receptionist's expression shifted to something between surprise and suspicion. Take the elevator to the 45th floor. Someone will meet you. The elevator ride felt eternal. Olivia's hands rested protectively over her still flat stomach. She practiced what she'd say, how she'd explain. Surely Damien would be shocked, but he was a good man underneath that controlled exterior. He would step up. They'd figure this out together. The elevator doors opened to a sleek reception area, where a stern-looking woman in her 60s waited. Her silver hair was pulled back severely, and her eyes were as cold as ice chips. Miss Hart, I'm Rebecca Blackwell, Damien's mother. The woman didn't extend her hand. My son is in a meeting, but when his assistant mentioned your name, I thought it best we speak first. I really need to see Damien directly, Olivia said, unease prickling down her spine. I'm sure you do. Rebecca's smile didn't reach her eyes. Tell me, Miss Hart, how much money do you want? Olivia blinked. Excuse me? Please don't insult my intelligence. You had a brief affair with my son, and now you're here with some story designed to extract money from him. How much will it take for you to disappear quietly? I'm not here for money, Olivia said, her voice rising. I'm here because I'm pregnant, and Damien is the father. He has a right to know, Rebecca laughed. A harsh, brittle sound. Pregnant. How predictable. And how convenient that you've chosen a man worth billions to pin this on. I'm not pinning anything on anyone. This is the truth. The truth, Rebecca said slowly, is that my son is sterile. He has been since a severe illness in his 20s. It's medically impossible for him to father children. So whatever bastard you're carrying, it certainly isn't his. The words hit Olivia like a physical blow. That's not possible. There hasn't been anyone else. Not for over a year before Damien, and no one since. Then I suggest you count back further, dear. Or perhaps you've simply forgotten one of your other conquests. Either way, I suggest you leave before I have security remove you. I want to hear this from Damien. Rebecca pulled out her phone and pressed a button. Darling, there's someone here making some rather wild claims. Could you spare a moment? Olivia's heart leaped with hope as footsteps approached from the hallway. Then Damien appeared, and the hope died. His face was carved from stone, his eyes empty of the warmth she remembered. Olivia. His voice was flat. My mother says you're pregnant and claiming I'm the father, not claiming anything. I am pregnant, and you are the father. I took a test this morning. Damien's jaw tightened. That's impossible. I'm medically sterile. Have been for years. It's in my medical records, verified by multiple specialists. But we were together. You're the only one, so you say? His words were ice. More likely, you saw an opportunity and took it. A museum curator's salary isn't much, is it? But a baby with a billionaire's name attached? That's a lifetime meal ticket. Olivia felt tears burning her eyes. How can you say that? After everything we shared, you think I'd lie about this? I think we barely knew each other for 3 weeks. I think you're either lying or genuinely confused about who the father is. Either way, you need to leave. Damien, please. Olivia's voice broke. Just take a paternity test. That's all I'm asking. When the baby is born, take a test. You'll see I'm telling the truth. Rebecca stepped forward. If you continue to harass my son with these false accusations, I'll have my lawyers destroy you. We'll sue you for defamation, extortion, and anything else they can make stick. You'll lose your job, your reputation, everything. Do you understand? Olivia looked at Damien, searching for any hint of the man she'd fallen for. But his eyes remained cold, distant, unreachable. I understand, she whispered. I understand perfectly. She turned and walked back to the elevator on shaking legs. As the doors closed, she caught one last glimpse of Damien standing beside his mother, his face expressionless. The man she'd thought she knew had been an illusion. On the street below, Olivia let the tears fall freely. People rushed past her on the busy sidewalk, no one noticing the devastated woman crying on the corner. She placed both hands over her stomach, over the tiny life growing inside her. It's okay, she whispered. We don't need him. We'll be okay on our own. But even as she said the words, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She'd come here hoping for support, for partnership, for love. Instead, she'd been called a liar and a gold digger by the father of her child. That evening, sitting in her cramped apartment, Olivia called her younger sister Sophie. He said, "What?" Sophie's voice exploded through the phone. Says he's sterile. That it's medically impossible for him to be the father. Oh, you haven't been with anyone else. I know that. You know that. But he doesn't believe me. Sophie was quiet for a moment. Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to call your doctor tomorrow and set up proper prenatal care. You're going to document everything. And you're going to be the best mother in the world to this baby, with or without Damien Blackwell. What if he's right? Olivia's voice was small. What if somehow this isn't possible? Then it's a miracle, Sophie said firmly. And that baby is still yours? Still wanted? Still loved? You're not alone in this, Liv. I've got your back. After they hung up, Olivia made an appointment with Dr. Patricia Moore, her physician. Whatever came next, she would face it. She had to, for the tiny life depending on her, as she lay in bed that night. One hand resting on her stomach, Olivia made a promise. This child would be loved, would be protected, would know they were wanted, even if their father had rejected them both. What Olivia didn't know was that across the city, in his penthouse apartment, Damien Blackwell stared out at the glittering lights of Manhattan, his mother's words echoing in his mind. But beneath the certainty she drilled into him, a tiny seed of doubt had been planted, because for just a moment, when he'd looked into Olivia's tear-filled eyes, he'd seen not calculation or greed, but genuine heartbreak and truth. 6 months had transformed Olivia's world entirely. Her belly had grown round and full, the baby's movements a constant reminder of the little life she carried. She'd thrown herself into preparing for motherhood, reading every book she could. Attending prenatal classes alone, while other couples held hands and shared excited glances. The museum had been understanding, allowing her to transition to less physically demanding tasks as her pregnancy progressed. Her co-workers had rallied around her, throwing a small baby shower that had made her cry happy tears. Sophie had moved into her spare room, insisting that Olivia needed support during these final months. She'd heard nothing from Damien, not a word, not a message. Some mornings she woke up angry at his rejection. Other days the hurt cut so deep she could barely breathe. But mostly she focused on the future, on the daughter the ultrasounds had revealed she was carrying. It was a Thursday afternoon when everything changed. Olivia had just finished cataloging a new shipment of Renaissance paintings when her phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Miss Hart? This is Catherine Mills. You don't know me, but we need to talk about Damien Blackwell." Olivia's hand instinctively moved to her belly. "I have nothing to say about him. Please, just meet me for coffee. 1 hour. I have information about his sterility diagnosis. Information he doesn't even know." Against her better judgment, Olivia agreed. 30 minutes later, she sat across from an elegant woman in her early 30s at a quiet cafe in Chelsea. Catherine Mills had the polished look of old money, her designer clothes understated but unmistakably expensive. "Thank you for coming," Catherine said, her eyes dropping to Olivia's obvious pregnancy. "I heard through mutual friends about what happened, about Rebecca telling you Damien was sterile. It's not just what she told me. Damien confirmed it. He has medical records." Catherine's expression hardened. "Medical records that his mother arranged. Miss Hart, I was engaged to Damien 5 years ago. We were planning a wedding when Rebecca decided I wasn't suitable. My family had money, but not the right connections she wanted for the Blackwell empire." Olivia's heart began to race. What does this have to do with his condition? When Damien was 23, he had a severe case of pneumonia that led to complications. He was hospitalized for weeks. During that time, Rebecca had him tested for various things, including fertility. The results came back showing some temporary inflammation, but nothing that would cause permanent sterility. Then how Rebecca paid Dr. Lawrence Chen, the family physician at the time, to alter the results, to tell Damien he was permanently sterile due to the illness. Dr. Chen retired and moved to Singapore shortly after, but not before making a deathbed confession to his daughter, who happens to be my best friend from college. Olivia felt dizzy. Why would a mother do that to her own son? "Control," Catherine said simply. "Rebecca Blackwell is obsessed with the family legacy. She wanted to ensure Damien never had children with anyone she didn't personally approve of. When he got serious with me, she used the false diagnosis to break us apart. She told me in private that even if we married, we could never give her grandchildren. And she made it clear my presence in the family would never be welcome. This is insane. It's the truth. After we broke up, I spent years trying to move on. But when my friend told me about her father's confession last month, I knew I had to do something. Then I heard about you, about the pregnancy, about how Rebecca threatened you." Catherine reached across the table and squeezed Olivia's hand. "That baby you're carrying is probably the only grandchild Rebecca will ever have, and she doesn't even know it." Olivia pulled her hand back, emotions warring inside her. "Even if this is true, what am I supposed to do with this information?" Damien made his choice. He called me a gold digger because he genuinely believes he can't father children. Rebecca has spent years reinforcing that belief, using it to keep him isolated and under her control. He needs to know the truth. Why don't you tell him? Catherine's smile was sad. He wouldn't believe me. He'd think I was trying to manipulate him to get back into his life. But you, carrying his child with proof, once the baby is born, you can make him see the truth. After Catherine left, pressing a folder of documents into Olivia's hands, Olivia sat alone nursing a decaf latte. Inside the folder were copies of Dr. Chen's original medical reports. The unaltered ones showing normal fertility, along with a notarized letter from his daughter explaining the deception. Sophie found her there an hour later, tears streaming down Olivia's face. "What happened?" Sophie demanded, sliding into the booth. Olivia explained everything, watching her sister's expression shift from shock to fury. "That woman is a monster," Sophie hissed. "We have to tell Damien. What if he doesn't believe me? What if he thinks I faked these documents, and we wait until the baby is born and demand a paternity test? With his mother's scheme exposed, he'll have to face the truth." But fate had other plans. 2 days later, Olivia was working late at the museum when Damien Blackwell walked through the door of her office. She gasped, nearly dropping the artifact she'd been examining. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes, his usually immaculate suit rumpled. "I convinced myself I was doing the right thing," he said without preamble. "Staying away from you. Believing you were lying. What changed?" Olivia's voice was barely a whisper. "I ran into Catherine Mills at a charity event last night. She told me I should ask my mother some hard questions about Dr. Chen." Olivia's heart stopped. "And did you?" "I confronted her this morning. At first she denied everything. But I hired investigators, the best money can buy. They found Dr. Chen's daughter in Singapore within hours. She sent me her father's confession. His voice broke. My own mother stole 20 years of my life. She made me believe I could never have a family. Damien, I called you a gold digger. I accused you of lying, of trying to trap me. All this time you were telling the truth. He took a step closer, his eyes glistening. I'm so sorry, Olivia. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know that I believe you now. That I know this baby is mine. Olivia's hand moved protectively to her belly, where their daughter was doing her evening gymnastics routine. It's been 6 months. You don't get to just walk back in now. I know. I'm not asking to. I just want to be there for you both in whatever capacity you'll allow. Doctor's appointments, preparations, expenses, everything. No strings attached. You're in control, and your mother's jaw tightened. Severed all business and personal ties with Rebecca Blackwell? She'll never have access to you or our child. That's not negotiable. Olivia studied his face, seeing genuine remorse etched in every line. Right. But remorse wasn't enough to erase 6 months of pain and loneliness. I need time, she finally said. Time to think about what's best for the baby, of course. I'll give you my private number. Call me anytime, day or night, if you need anything. I mean that. He pulled out a business card and wrote on the back, his hand shaking slightly. As he handed it to her, their fingers brushed. And Olivia felt the familiar electricity that had drawn them together in the first place. For what it's worth, Damien said softly, not a day has gone by that I haven't thought about you. About us. I was a coward who let my mother's manipulation blind me to the truth. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. After he left, Olivia sank into her chair, overwhelmed. Sophie arrived minutes later, having received Olivia's frantic text. He knows, Olivia said simply. And he wants to be involved. He apologized. He cut off his mother. Sophie sat beside her. What do you want, Liv? I don't know. Me wants to slam the door in his face, to make him feel even a fraction of what I felt. But another part remembers why I fell for him in the first place. And this baby deserves a father who wants her. Then take it slow. Make him prove he's changed. Make him earn your trust back. That night, lying in bed, Olivia felt her daughter kick strongly against her ribs. She pulled out Damien's card, staring at the number scrawled in his bold handwriting. She'd been prepared to do this alone. But now, impossibly, she had a choice. The question was whether she had the courage to take a chance on the man who'd broken her heart, or whether some betrayals were simply too deep to overcome. 3 weeks had passed since Damien's revelation, and true to his word, he'd given Olivia space while making his presence known in subtle ways. A top-rated crib appeared at her apartment with a note, only the best for our daughter. Her favorite flowers arrived weekly. Always with simple messages, thinking of you both, or hope you're feeling well. He never pushed, never demanded. He simply existed on the periphery of her life, waiting for permission to come closer. It was Sophie who finally convinced Olivia to let him attend a doctor's appointment. He's trying. Live. And whether you two end up together or not, he should be part of this baby's life. Let him start now. So Olivia sent a text to Damien's private number. Ultrasound appointment Tuesday at 2 p.m. St. Mary's Medical Center. You can come if you want. His response was immediate. I'll be there. Thank you. Tuesday arrived with unseasonably warm weather for March. Olivia wore a flowing maternity dress in soft blue. Her 7-month belly, prominent and impossible to hide. She arrived early, nerves making her fidgety as she checked in with the receptionist. Olivia. She turned to find Damien standing in the waiting room, looking nervous in a way she'd never seen before. He wore jeans and a simple sweater instead of his usual designer suits, as if he'd consciously tried to appear less intimidating. You came, she said unnecessarily. I wouldn't miss this for anything. His eyes dropped to her belly, wonder replacing the nervousness. You look beautiful. How are you feeling? Tired. She likes to practice kickboxing at 3 a.m. Smile transformed his face. She's already taking after you. Strong and determined. Before Olivia could respond, Dr. Patricia Moore called her name. Damien looked at her questioningly, and Olivia nodded. Together, they walked into the examination room. This must be the father, Dr. Moore said warmly, extending her hand to Damien. I'm glad you could join us today. As Olivia lay back on the table and the doctor applied the cold gel to her belly, she felt Damien's hand hover near hers. Not quite touching, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. On impulse, she took his hand, squeezing gently, his fingers wrapped around hers as if she'd given him the most precious gift in the world. Then the monitor flickered to life. Their daughter, fully formed now, sucking her thumb and shifting position. Everything looks perfect, Dr. Moore said, moving the wand to capture different angles. Strong heartbeat, good size, active as always. Damien stared at the screen, transfixed. Olivia watched tears stream down his face unchecked as he witnessed his daughter moving and living inside her. "That's our baby," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "Our little girl. Would you like to know her current position?" Dr. Moore asked with a knowing smile. "Please," Olivia and Damien said in unison. "She's head down, right where she should be. Getting ready to meet her parents?" After the appointment, Damien walked Olivia to her car, still holding her hand as if afraid to let go.
"Thank you,"
he said, "for letting me be part of that. I know I don't deserve it." Olivia turned to face him fully. "Damien, we need to talk. Really talk? About what happens when she's born. About co-parenting. About everything, okay? When? Now, there's a park 2 blocks from here. We can walk if you're free. I cleared my entire schedule for today. I'm all yours." They walked slowly through Riverside Park, the Hudson River glittering in the afternoon sun. Olivia felt the baby shift and settle, as if even she knew this conversation was important. "I've had a lot of time to think," Olivia began. "About what your mother did. About how you reacted. About all of it. I understand why you didn't believe me at first. The medical evidence seemed overwhelming. That's not an excuse for how I treated you. No, it's not. You hurt me deeply, Damien. You made me feel worthless, like I was some kind of criminal trying to scam you. That's not something I can just forget." He stopped walking, turning to face her. "I know, I replay that day constantly, wishing I could take back every word. You deserved better. You deserved someone who trusted you, who believed in what we had. But I also understand that you were a victim too," Olivia continued. "Your mother manipulated you for years, stealing your chance at having a family. That's unforgivable." "I've hired the best family lawyers in the city," Damien said. "Not to fight you, but to ensure Rebecca can never come near our daughter. I'm also in therapy, working through the trauma of her manipulation. I want to be the father our child deserves, not someone weighed down by his mother's poison." Olivia felt something soften inside her. "You're really trying. I'm really trying. Olivia, I don't expect you to love me again. I don't even expect you to forgive me completely. But I'm asking for a chance to prove I can be a good father. Maybe if you'll allow it, we can find our way back to friendship. Co-parenting works better when the parents can actually stand to be in the same room." "I'd like that," Olivia admitted. "And Damien, for what it's worth, I never stopped caring about you. Even when I was furious and hurt, I couldn't just turn off what I felt." Hope flared in his eyes. "Does that mean it means we take this slow? We focus on preparing for the baby. We build trust. And we see what happens." Over the next 6 weeks, Damien became a constant, reliable presence. He attended every doctor's appointment, took childbirth classes with Olivia despite the awkward stares from the other couples, and helped Sophie set up the nursery in Olivia's apartment. He'd arrive with dinner, after Olivia's long days at the museum. Never staying too long, but always making sure she'd eaten well slowly. Carefully, they began to rebuild what had been broken. Late-night conversations about baby names, debates over parenting philosophies, shared laughter over the ridiculous amount of baby gear that seemed necessary. Olivia found herself looking forward to his calls. Missing him when a day passed without seeing him, Sophie noticed, of course. "You're falling for him again," she said one evening while helping Olivia fold impossibly tiny baby clothes. "I never really fell out of love with him," Olivia admitted. "I was just too hurt to acknowledge it. And now I think maybe we're both different people than we were. Better people. People who might actually have a chance at making this work." But the universe had one more test for them. Olivia went into labor 3 weeks early on a rainy Thursday evening. She'd been at the museum, finishing up paperwork before her maternity leave, when her water broke. Sophie was out of town for work, so Olivia called the only other person she trusted completely. It's time. He arrived at the hospital before the ambulance did, having apparently broken every traffic law in Manhattan. His face was pale with worry as he helped her from the car into the emergency room. "I've got you," he kept saying. "You're doing great. We're almost there." But complications arose quickly. The baby's heart rate dropped during contractions, and suddenly the room was full of doctors and nurses speaking in urgent tones. Dr. Moore's face was serious as she examined Olivia. "The umbilical cord is compressed. We need to do an emergency cesarean section now." Terror seized Olivia's heart. "Is she going to be okay?" "We're going to do everything we can. Damien, you'll need to scrub in if you want to be present." "I'm not leaving her," Damien said fiercely, gripping Olivia's hand. Either of them. The next hour blurred into a surreal haze of bright lights, medical jargon, and overwhelming fear. Damien stayed beside Olivia's head, holding her hand and whispering encouragement even as his own face betrayed his terror. Then, finally, a sharp cry pierced the air. "She's here," Dr. Moore announced, holding up a tiny, squirming baby. "And she's perfect." Tears streamed down Olivia's face as they placed their daughter on her chest for a brief moment before taking her to check her vital signs. The baby had a shock of dark hair in Damien's nose, but her eyes, when they briefly opened, were all Olivia. "She's beautiful," Damien whispered, kissing Olivia's forehead. "You're both so beautiful. Thank you for giving me this gift." Later, in the recovery room, Olivia held their daughter while Damien sat beside the bed, unable to take his eyes off them. "Emma," Olivia said softly. "I want to name her Emma. Emma Blackwell Hart," Damien said, testing the name. "It's perfect. Just Emma Hart, actually," Olivia corrected gently. "Unless you have objections?" Understanding dawned in his eyes. She wasn't shutting him out, but she also wasn't erasing the journey she'd made alone. The hyphenated name would come if and when they became a real family. "No objections?" he said softly. "Emma Hart is perfect." Over the next few days in the hospital, Damien proved himself in ways that touched Olivia deeply. He changed diapers without complaint, walked the halls with a screaming Emma at 2 a.m. so Olivia could rest, and advocated fiercely with the nursing staff to ensure Olivia's pain management was adequate. When Rebecca Blackwell attempted to visit, having somehow learned about the birth, Damien met her in the hallway. Olivia couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw him speak firmly and watch his mother leave, her face twisted with rage. "She's never going to be part of our lives," Damien said when he returned. "I've made that clear. I also had my lawyers draft restraining orders if necessary." On their last day in the hospital, as Olivia prepared to take Emma home, Damien cleared his throat nervously. "I know we agreed to take things slow," he began, "and I'm not trying to rush you, but I need you to know something. These past 2 months being part of your pregnancy, preparing for Emma, falling in love with you all over again, it's shown me what really matters. Not money or business empires or family legacies. Just you two." "My family," Olivia's heart swelled. "Damien, let me finish. I'm not asking you to marry me or even to be in a relationship right now. I'm just asking you to know that I love you. I love Emma. And whenever you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here, waiting, hoping, but also just grateful to be part of your lives, in whatever way you'll have me." Olivia looked down at Emma, sleeping peacefully in her arms, then back at Damien. This man who had rejected her, who had broken her heart, but who had also fought his way back from the lies that had shaped his life, who had proven day after day that he was worthy of a second chance. "I love you too," she whispered. "I think I need some time to adjust to being a mother, to figure out this new normal. But I want you to know that when I picture our future, you're in it. All three of us together." The smile that broke across his face was like the sun emerging from clouds. "Then I'll wait as long as it takes. We have all the time in the world." 6 months later, on a crisp autumn morning, Damien and Olivia stood in Central Park with Emma between them. Now a chubby, happy baby who laughed at everything. They weren't married, weren't even officially living together yet, but they were a family in all the ways that mattered. "She has your eyes," Damien said, tickling Emma's chin and making her giggle. "And your stubborn streak," Olivia countered with a laugh, as they walked through the falling leaves. Emma, reaching for the golden colors with delighted coos. Olivia reflected on the impossible journey that had brought them here. From accusation to acceptance, from heartbreak to healing, from separate lives to a shared future. "What are you thinking about?" Damien asked, noticing her faraway expression.
Hey.
"About how sometimes the impossible happens," Olivia said, leaning into his shoulder as they watched their daughter discover the world, "and how grateful I am that it did." Damien wrapped his arm around her, holding his family close. "The impossible heir," he murmured. "The baby who changed everything," as Emma laughed again. Reaching for her parents with perfect trust, they both knew that this impossible blessing had given them something far more valuable than wealth or status. It had given them love, redemption, and a future bright with promise. Thank you for taking that time to listen to this story. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to share this story with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more meaningful stories.